What's up, everyone? We're back for some more Stray Kids 2 Kids show. I checked out episode 1 a few weeks ago. We're on to episode 2 with Hyunjin, I.N, and Lino as the MC, which should be very interesting. If you want to watch my full uncut reaction and analysis, all you need to do is go to my Patreon page. I've included everything there, including my reaction to their performance at the end. So thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate you. Let's get into this episode today.
투키즈의 은밀한 이야기와 음악이 함께하는 곳, 이곳은 투키즈 쇼입니다. 박수 안 치냐?
와, 야 뭐야?
그리고 저는 투키즈 쇼의 잘생긴 MC 리노입니다. 박수!
It's going to be interesting to see Lino as the host. I would never picture him as the host. Changbin is an obvious sort of shoo-in for host. Already, he's sort of like bringing in his sort of flirty, sarcastic, quote-unquote arrogant humor. The handsome host, and why is no one applauding?
박수 안 치냐? MC 리노입니다. 박수!
Like he's the ultimate at making you want to kind of get involved in like the teasing and the playing, and that's Lino's wheelhouse right there. And he's an antagonizer. He's antagonistic. He'll get you, but he'll only do it if he likes you, if he loves you. So it's a good sign when Lino's kind of teasing you and poking at you.
뭐 간단한 자기소개와 뭐 그런 거 아시죠?
네.
아 자기소개.
안녕하세요. 저는 스트레이키즈의 현진이라고 합니다.
오. 네 안녕하세요. 저는 스트레이키즈 막내 I.N입니다.
Lino cracks me up, man. He's a little rough around the edges, and I think he means to be. Like he's light and playful, but at the same time, like he can be quite direct in a way. He doesn't try to like soften things up, but again, I think that's part of his teasing, that's part of his personality, that's part of his charm, right? Another host might say, please kindly introduce yourself, whereas Lino's like, go ahead, just say your names.
뭐 간단한 자기소개와
Yeah, I also think Lino's like, he is also a pretty direct guy. I don't think he really communicates with fluff. Like he gets right to the point. Like he asks questions directly and he makes statements quite directly. I do see glimpses of him having like a little bit like of a softer, deeper side. And you can see him at times getting inquisitive, but I don't think that's necessarily his first instinct. He's more than meets the eye, that's for sure. Lino's more than meets the eye, but I do still think he is quite direct in his communication. He doesn't necessarily hold back. There's a confidence to him in that.
맞아. 데뷔하고 나서요.
참 정말 대단하죠. 데뷔하고 나서 이제 어른들의 스케줄을 사회생활도 하랴 학교 다니라 정말 대단합니다, 여러분들. 그때를 위해서 박수 한번 쳐주시죠.
잘했다.
근데 서공예즈 시절 현진이 집에서 같이 놀았다는 얘기를 들었는데 그거에 대한
Lino just like rushing through that compliment. Like he'll give you the compliment, but he's like, we're not going to stay on this too long. We're not going to stay on this compliment too long. I'm going to give you your props, but we're going to move right on.
박수 한번 쳐주시죠.
잘했다.
근데 서공예즈 시절
Again, I think that's part of his humor, and I don't necessarily think Lino likes like sitting in like the mushy gushy. I don't think he's necessarily comfortable there. So I think part of his humor is sort of developed through like a defense and a protection from going there. But I also think just personality-wise, he likes to keep things lighter.
그때가
추석이었나 설날이었나.
어쨌든 명절이었는데 그때 제 친구랑
맞아요.
이렇게 같이 가가지고 가서 꽃게탕 먹고
총게임 하다가 이제 집 가서 셋이서 같이 밥 먹고.
좋네요.
어이없어.
리노 씨 진짜
아련합니다.
억텐이신데. 약간 억텐인데 이거.
억텐이야.
I like the Hyunjin and Lino dynamic, right? Because like Hyunjin seems to be cool with calling Lino out.
리노 씨 진짜
아련합니다.
억텐이신데. 약간 억텐인데 이거.
억텐이야.
Hyunjin, from the beginning, he kind of struck me as a guy who was very genuine, and you can read how he was feeling on his face. He couldn't really hide how he was feeling, so you get a very sort of authentic vibe from him. I.N, I'm still like, I still look at I.N and I'm like, I wonder if part of him is kind of putting it on. Like I'm not sure. I think maybe part of him is like, I should be positive here. I should smile when I talk about that. Sometimes I feel like he does put the smile on because he feels like it's best for the group, or it's best for the story, or it's best for the camera. And again, I'm not saying this is a negative thing at all. Like a lot of people do this.
그룹에선 막내지만 실제로는 동생이 있는 I.N 씨와 그룹에서는 형이지만 실제로는 외동인 현진. 스테이들은 이 두 사람을 의젓하고 강인한 아기 동생과 형인 척 폼잡지만 허우적대고 어리버리한 형.
Lino, man, he's like making a case for my favorite over here.
Surprise!
He's so funny. Because he's just like very matter of fact in this situation. Just matter of fact, you're this, Stay says you're this, and Stay says you're this. He doesn't pull any punches. Whether Stay says that or not, I believe that they probably do. And Lino's gonna say it. And like Lino's like looking to poke. Like he's looking to. It's hilarious because you know it's gonna get something out of the guys. You know what he says in this very matter-of-fact way is gonna get a rise out of the people that he's around. That's why it's so funny. And that's why he's like the master at teasing.
그게 현진이 형뿐만이 아니라
예.
사실 다른
아니요, 그냥 현진이만 한정적으로 해서 하시죠. 다른 애들 그렇게 죽이지 마시고요. 저도 포함되어 있을 것 같으니까.
어제 동생이 없는
예.
형이잖아요.
예.
그 초반에 약간 뚝딱뚝딱 되는 게 있긴 했는데
너를 대할 때?
동생이 잘 못해가지고.
First of all, I want to say Lino's doing an excellent job as MC here, isn't he? Like just directing the conversation where it needs to be. No. We're focusing on Hyunjin here. We're not getting off subject. So a good host will make sure that the subject stays on track.
아니요, 그냥 현진이만 한정적으로 해서 하시죠. 다른 애들 그렇게 죽이지 마시고요.
I was also going to say, like, I wonder if I.N actually loves being the younger brother. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he embraces the role, but I wonder if, like, there's parts of him that are like, all right, guys, like, chill, like, enough. I get it. I'm the younger brother. Stop treating me like this, like, cute younger brother. I'm an adult. I'm independent. I've got my own thoughts. I'm not just like this cute little younger brother. I'm more than that, essentially. And I'm sure they do know that, knowing who the Stray Kids boys are, knowing how intelligent and aware and compassionate they are. But I wonder if at times, in the past, he got frustrated with it, or it's like annoying to him at all.
교복을 입은 뭐 선배나 후배가 와가지고 일어나시라고. 생각 모르는 남이 그래서 감사합니다 이러고 학교 가고 막 그랬었던 적이 많아. 혼자 다니면 이러는데 얘네랑 같이 다녔을 땐 지각도 한 번도 해본 적 없어요.
약간 서공예는 약간 자상한 사람들이 꽤 많네요.
그쵸?
아 많죠.
Yeah, and I could see why the guys love I.N so much too, right? He just seems like such a good kind of, I was gonna say hype man, but just a supportive friend. He's a supportive brother, you know? You can even tell just by his reaction to Hyunjin's story. You know, he like listens to his older brothers. Like he's right there with them. He's attentive with them. He listens carefully, listens closely. He appreciates their stories. He appreciates their personalities. And as we know, it's awesome to be around people who we feel appreciate us.
글을 쓰거나 그림을 그리거나 작업하는 모습들을 보면서 I.N 씨는 어떤 감정을 좀 느끼는지.
이렇게 감성적이고 그리고 예술적이기도 하니까 뭔가 되게 부럽기도 하고 되게 신기하기도 하고 나도 가지고 싶다라는 생각을 많이 되게 주제가 다양하더라고요. 노래들 들어보면 그게 되게 신기했던 것 같아요. 신기했던 것 같아요.
Cool. Really nice sort of praise from I.N toward Hyunjin. I really like that and felt very genuine coming from him too. And cool to see Hyunjin really taking it in, right? He wasn't deflecting the praise either, which I liked and I'm an advocate for. Don't deflect the compliments, especially when they're coming from a person that's close to you and that knows you well. I think that can be good for the soul.
신기했던 것 같아요.
Like, thank you. You know, he appreciated it. That was cool.
현진 씨에겐 그런 장점이 있는 거고 I.N 씨에게도 있는 장점이 있을 것 같은데 현진 씨 말씀해 주시죠.
저는 생각이 정말 많단 말이에요.
아, 그죠.
이엔이도 생각이 굉장히 많은데 이런 걸 잘 풀어내는 사람인 것 같아서 그런 게 되게 부럽기도 하고 직접적인 가사도 사실 그렇게 쓸 수 있는 사람도 몇 없다고 생각이 들거든요.
This show's set up for success, right? You know, this show's set up to give us multiple dopamine hits throughout the entire episode. That's a great question. Like, what do you think is great about Hyunjin? What do you think is great about I.N? This is the stuff that we want to hear, you know? And this is the stuff that builds connections, guys, right? That's really everything when it comes to communication and connection, right? It's all about the other person. It's all about how you make the other person feel. It's all about listening and seeing and understanding the other person. And when people feel understood and seen, that's when we want to be around other people. It's like, I want to be around people who get me. They're building on their already incredibly tight bond and rapport. They're just adding layers to it. They're just solidifying it. And they're doing it through these sort of genuine compliments and acknowledgements.
이엔이가 그런 걸 잘하는 거고 저는 그냥 다른 거를 좀 추구하는 거고 약간 그런 느낌인 것 같아요.
원래 사람은 이게 각자 다른 스타일의 사람한테 끌린다고 하는데 그래가지고 두 분이 좀 이렇게 잘 맞는 게
아,
아니에요.
얘는 엄청 끌리죠.
예, 끌려요?
이엔이
네, 둘이 형 그 상태로 한번 오늘 인터뷰 계속 진행해 보도록 하겠습니다.
이 남자 갖고 싶어.
나도 너 갖고 싶어.
It's cool how Hyunjin just kind of lays it on I.N. Yeah, Hyunjin's, you know, I know he's very sensitive. I've commented on his sensitivity before. I feel sometimes he might have a shell or a wall to kind of protect himself because he like feels so deeply. And I think that's sort of, you know, synonymous with his deeply artistic side and, you know, his creative side. He just sort of like thinks about things really deeply and looks at things in a different way, very deeply. I think, you know, it's really important for him to be real. And he is. Part of why I love listening to these guys is just witnessing how well they know not only each other, but themselves, right? That's inspiring to me. I feel like in order to really love yourself, you have to really know yourself.
너 J지? 너 약간 그 계획적이지 사람이.
좀 많이.
저는 완전 무계획 그냥 근본 없는 여행이거든요.
반대되는 사람한테 끌린다니까.
너무 끌리네요.
나 제일.
네. 별로 안 끌리는데요.
아, 그래요? 아, 이거 참.
그 말은 아닌 걸로 그냥.
예, 좋습니다. 뭐
I think Hyunjin's figured out how to flirt with Lino, maybe. It feels like he kind of plays hard to get with Lino, and Lino likes that.
별로 안 끌리는데요.
Yeah, because you know what? If you're too into Lino's space, if you're too like invasive with him, I don't think he's into that. I think he'll kind of like push you away. And I sort of like noticed that a little with Bang Chan in one of the shows that I watched. I think that's why part of why Han and Lino get along so well, why Lino loves Han so much, is because like Han's like totally independent and like totally does his own thing. He knows he can be his complete self, and Han's gonna leave him alone. That's an element there that Lino likes and feels comfortable with.
이랑 뭘 하기가 쉽지가 않아요. 난 지금 삘이 오면 뭔가를 하거든요.
네.
저는 일주일 전부터 다음 주 계획을 이렇게 다 짜놔요. 계획을 안 해놓으면 아무것도 안 할 것 같으니까 그래도 뭐라도 그 계획을 짜놓는 거야.
그러니까 쉬는 날에 갑자기 눈을 떴는데 도자기 갑자기 너무 만들고 싶은 거야.
That was really cool, just to sort of see the differences between Hyunjin and I.N. Hyunjin sort of being a more spontaneous person and doesn't like to be like restricted in any way. And I think that kind of maybe speaks to his creativity, you know, wanting to be free-flowing and wanting to kind of like move through life at his pace with no kind of barriers or restrictions and just have this kind of freedom. And it's cool that they recognize each other's differences, but not only do they recognize each other's differences, you can tell they appreciate each other's differences. You know, especially I.N. Like he can appreciate and kind of laugh and find the humor in how Hyunjin's different from him. And I think that's cool. Like we should embrace our differences, especially amongst our friends. We don't need to be the exact same in how we operate in our relationships to make them work. You know, I think that's part of what makes these guys such good communicators is they're just aware of each other's differences. And because of that, they can be more empathetic toward one another and have clear, more effective conversations.
그때 있던 좀 비하인드나 공개할 수 있는 부분에 그런 것들도 좀 있을까?
멤버들이나 특히 뭐 이엔이랑 뭐 이렇게 간단하게 술 한잔 할 때는 되게 저희의 인생 이야기를 굉장히 많이 해요. 뭔가 저희가 성적이 정말 안 나오고 너무 속상한 나머지 이엔이한테 오늘 술 한잔 하자 이러고 이엔이를 불러가지고.
I think, you know, what we see from I.N. on camera might be different from what we would see off camera. Just from the stories that the guys share about him, like there's a real sort of like empathetic, serious, more compassionate side to him that maybe you've seen, maybe a lot of Stay has seen, but I feel like I haven't really seen as much, and I feel like it's something that he shows a lot more off camera. Just like a real kind of empathetic, deep guy who is sort of like a real kind of support system for a lot of the guys. That's what it feels like. And I think I.N. has a lot of humility. It's almost like he kind of laughs at the fact that, you know, he's there. He's like, yeah, it's no big deal.
얘랑 대창을 먹으러 갔죠. 대창을 먹으러. 왜냐면 그때 저희가 이제 진짜 너무 힘들었던 시기였어요. 왜냐면 뭔가 이렇게 준비해도 안 되고 우리를 뭔가 이렇게 업고 하니까 이엔이랑 한잔 하러 갔던 것 같아요.
기억난다.
근데 이제 그것도 다 추억으로.
Right, so they're talking about something serious here. Hyunjin's talking about something serious, reflecting on like a difficult time that they had, and then you turn to I.N. and I.N.'s got a big smile on his face. And that's why I was sort of questioning whether the smile and the positivity was 100% genuine, because, you know, they'll be talking, it seems like, about more serious things, and I.N. sort of sitting there responding and reflecting on these things with a smile on his face, which would seem sort of counterintuitive to a lot of people, but perhaps that's just his way, right? Perhaps that's just his way of, you know, moving through life. Like, hey, we don't have to take this so seriously. Like, that was in the past, and it's kind of fun to think about that. Or maybe naturally he just kind of reflects on these situations with some lightness and some humor.
저는 저희 노래 부르면서 자극을 되게 많이 받는 것 같아요. 저희 노래 녹음하면서. 왜냐면은 제가 평소에 부르던 노래는 사실 그냥 쉽게 부를 수 있어요. 근데 저희 스트레이키즈 노래를 부를 때는 수록곡이나 타이틀이나 뭐 한 번씩 꼭 이게 한계가 올 때가 있어요. 내가
Yeah, so maybe it's like when I.N's answering questions in the moment about himself, that's when you kind of see a little bit more like sincerity from him. And perhaps it's when he's like reflecting on the past and he's not like in the moment needing to like focus so heavily on the answer at hand and thinking about what he wants to say and thinking about who he is. It gives him a little bit more space to be lighter. When he's thinking about the past, it's like, it's light, it's fun, let's joke around. But when it's about himself and it's in the moment, maybe that's when we see his depth a little bit more, we see his sincerity a little bit more. And you can tell Hyunjin, and I think Lino too, but you can definitely see with Hyunjin, just the way he's listening and interacting with I.N while I.N's answering, how much he appreciates the sincerity from I.N. I think Hyunjin really appreciates when the other guys are honest and reflective and when they open up. Like I think Hyunjin really like appreciates authenticity in general.
예, 저희 팀으로서 작업하는 것도 저는 굉장히 좋게 생각합니다.
그렇죠.
여러분들의 이런 사소한 부분들을 발전시키는 것 덕분에 이제 저희 스트레이키즈가 남아 있는 거고라고 생각을 하는데 여러분들께서 서로 각자에게 덕담이나 응원의 격려 한 마디씩 해주는 거.
Lino's doing an awesome job, huh? My guy, just firing off good questions, getting really good, sincere responses from his guests over here. And, you know, we're seeing at times a more sincere, serious Lino too, which is always a pleasure.
끊임없이 뭔가 나태해지지 않고 꾸준히 무언가를 노력한다는 거에 있어서 너무 리스펙하는 것 같아. 너무 멋있고 내가 만약에 이엔이처럼 뭔가 저렇게 미친 듯이 무언가를 더 할 수 있을까라고 생각을 해봤을 때 저는 뭐 어느 순간부터는 좀 나태해질 것 같은데.
That's awesome, man. These guys motivate each other. I always say like iron sharpens iron. When you're around great people, skilled people, people who are super motivated, it's only gonna make you get better.
지금 것도 보면 또 잘해져 있고 옛날 영상도 보고 지금 거 보고 또 잘해져 있고 이게 되게 신기하더라고요. 이런 부분들이 되게 신기했던 것 같아요. 그런 거 보면서 되게 마음 뿌듯하기도 하고 뭔가 열심히 살게 되는 그런 걸 한 번씩 느끼는 것 같아요.
You know I love when I get validation from one of these guys right after I say something. I love it. He just said it. He motivates me to keep pushing myself. These guys don't need anyone else. They have each other. Not to say they don't need anyone else, obviously. Family, friends, outside of Stray Kids, but you know what I'm saying. The motivation is within the group.
좋네요. 서로 포옹 한번 하고 가시죠.
Lino is jealous. If I have ever seen a jealous person.
곡을 되게 많이 만들고 있는데 너무 막혀가지고 이거를 뭔가 해결해줄 사람이 누가 있을까 해서 어쨌든 이엔이 툭툭 뭔가 이렇게 진심을 잘 말하잖아요. 그래서 이엔이한테 한번 해보자고 말해보자 해서 이엔이한테.
I think I.N out of everyone in the group might be the definition of more than meets the eye. It's funny that I say that he's a guy that might not speak his mind, and Hyunjin, you know, originally I would say that, but Hyunjin's saying that he is the guy that would speak his mind. He is direct. I think there's a lot more to him that potentially we don't see, especially I haven't seen off camera. You know, I think he might be maybe the most different off camera than he is on camera.
자, 즐거웠습니다. 그럼 빨리 여러분들의 무대를 한번 만나러 가보시죠.
예.
자, 저는 이만 가보도록
가라.
하겠습니다. 잘해라잉.
가.
That was awesome, man. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. If you want to watch my uncut reaction and analysis along with the performances here from I.N and Hyunjin, all you need to do is go to my Patreon page. I've included the link in my description below. You can also find my uncut reaction and analysis to episode 1 of 2 Kids Show and all my other uncut exclusive Stray Kids reactions there. Other than that, I appreciate you being here. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.